everybody, it's Randy with Carchaeology, and finally I'm getting down to posting up some videos from the past events that I've attended. This video is going to be a whole assemblage of clips and images from our trip to Scottsdale, Arizona this past January for the Scottsdale car auctions. That includes Barrett Jackson, Bonhams, and RM Sotheby's. Now, we did run out of gas on the way there. I'm not real proud of that. We were trying to make it to the Arizona state line to save a few dollars, and unfortunately it ended up costing us about an hour of waiting on the side of the road for AAA. But we finally arrived at Barrett Jackson. Here's a quick look around of some of the shiny machines underneath the tent. This is a massive, massive sale, and it was fun to be there. And we arrived just in time to see my friend's AMX run across the block. This is a beautiful car that he brought out to the sale, and the end result of that was super strong. He was very happy, and that set a great mood for the start of Car Week for us there in Scottsdale. This particular bus here belonged to Will Farrell. It's a 23-window bus. It was beautifully restored. It did quite well. Lots of interesting cars, including this brand new Corvette that was still in its wrapper. They didn't even take off the protective shipping coat there. They just peeled back the windshield so that they could see and made it so you can get in and out of the door, and they left it completely in the baggie. I'm not even sure. Well, it looks like it was white. That's about all you can tell. But it was basically a brand new car. That was kind of an interesting way to present it, I thought. Really trick, custom 911. This thing was super impressive. Not sure who the builder was, but it was definitely at a high level, and I'm sure it did quite well in the sale. I saw that name Dawson. Maybe that was the builder. In any case, lots of interesting cars inside and outside. I mean, there are literally thousands of cars running through the auction, as well as vendors showing off their wares, all the different hot rod suspension, tie-down straps, etc., etc. The early days of the auction, the cars were still out in the tent with sales prices marked. And that is always interesting to see. That Rambler station wagon sold for 18 grand. Probably fair money for what it was, maybe a little high. This particular car carrier was huge, really custom cab over setup with an amazing bed, lots of metalwork and stuff on this. It was a very impressive piece, too large to be in the tent, and I can't imagine that they ran that across the block. But what a beast, the ultimate vintage car hauler. An old Lotus complete with oil leak. There was a Saab there, $5,300 that sold for, a couple of VWs that seemed to do fairly well despite being, not the best. This wild blown trike thing was really bizarre. There's always a freak show element to the stuff that runs through Barrett Jackson. It's all flash, it's all fun. Super interesting cars, from that crazy trike to this completely hand-built, wooden-bodied car based on something. I don't even know what was underneath this, but it was really fun to see that craftsmanship. Somebody spent a lot of time on this, and I'm sure that this interesting one-off Woody found a new home at Barrett Jackson. Let's see, did it sell here? Sure enough, $9,500. It went to a new owner. Inside, there were some really fun stuff, including this replica of the Dragula from the Munsters TV show. This was a really slick, well-built custom here. Fun to see, definitely a crowd pleaser, and they had that sitting right next to a copy of the Munster coach. Now, these are both cars that I remember from watching those shows as a child. Fun to see the real-life thing there in person, and both of them are very well done. And I'm sure that they both found very fun new owners. In any case, lots of freak show fun stuff there, and then lots of serious muscle cars and other interesting machines there as well. The Winged Warriors there, so on and so forth. But we decided to get out of the loud noise of there and run by the Bonham sale for the preview to see what was going on there. And here's where you will see some of the finest automobiles put up for auction. during Scottsdale. It's not at Barrett Jackson. It is at these boutique sales like Bonhams and RM. This BMW 507 was absolutely drop dead gorgeous. What a stunning, stunning car. And it was certainly the highlight, or one of the highlighters, of this particular sale. And there are many there at Bonhams. So this is a fun walk around to see the stuff that is going to be running through. We will come back to this sale and see the cars come across the block here in a while. This Chrysler Ghia body car was another stunning, beautiful piece right next to that other historic show car. I love the design of this thing. I mean, this is Jetsons all the way. The future is ahead, and this is the design that was done back in the 1950s. I absolutely love it. Let's go to the moon. Let's see, what else do we have here? This Seata was an absolute gorgeous little car, Allard J2X. They had an assortment of pedal cars, a beautiful collection of these things, all restored to a high level. And each one of these went through individually, and that started off the sale for Bonhams. After they finished with these, they started getting into cars and that sort of thing. And quite a few of these did quite well. Back to the cars that will be up for auction at Bonhams. Ferrari, the Seata again. Here's in a whole line of vintage Porsches, including this 1955 Continental, which was a stunning, stunning car. I love the super early Porsches. They're so pure and so simple in their design. But if you don't want a simple one, you can work your way farther up the line here into the latter production 356 models, and then directly across the aisle is a line of the 911 cars. I'm also a huge fan of the early 911s. I think those cars are so pure and so beautiful. But a turbo wouldn't suck either. There's a Maybach Zeppelin here. That was a wild, big, monstrous sedan of a car. This insane Maserati was parked out there where you can walk around it. This is an absolute full-on dream supercar of a machine here. This car ended up doing extremely well at the sale. I forget exactly what the total was. However, the bidding went quite high, but I don't think it met reserve. But it was definitely one of the highlights of the Bonham sale. And again, we'll get back to the actual sale shortly. But this was our preview walk around. Clean little Carmen Ghia sitting there. A nice contrast to that crazy Maserati. Chrysler letter cars, a whole bunch of big 50s American classics. This was a really stellar looking car. That's my thumb in my shadow. And here, this Benz was a very interesting machine, complete with its dragon horn. I wanted to squeeze that bulb so bad, but instead I posed for a photo with the head of the snake. A Minerva Land Rover, that's a very rare Land Rover variant. Kind of fun to see. Beautiful BMW. Let's see here. This was a very interesting car, an AC a Seika, which is just gorgeous. I love the shape of that. That Oscar Fiat was an amazing car as well. Early Z was stunning, absolutely beautiful restoration. Jaguars, Austin Healey's, a lot of the British classics on display as well and up for bids. Some of these pre-war sports cars, including the Allard J2X here, was fun to see. This is one of my mother's favorite cars. She's always loved the Allard J2X and remembers seeing them racing in Chicago in the 1950s when she and my father were first together. This Alfa Romeo here was another stunning car. This was actually a replica that was built by Persang in Argentina, but you absolutely could not tell, or at least I could not tell, by looking at it. Very convincing. The Invicta was another neat pre-war racer sports car. Loved that. A whole variety of other sports cars. A lot of Aston Martins from an overseas collection coming up for grabs. Facel Vega. There's a Facel four-door, which is very interesting. Love those Chinese eye, cat eye Rolls Royces. BMW Isetta, and a very interesting Vespa with a sidecar. Another early Porsche. Here's another picture of that Allard J2X. Spacey dashboard on a Chrysler product. And there's always some interesting machines there and different designs of all different manufacturers from around the world. Let's see, Porsche 928s, a couple of those. I'm not sure what that was, but I loved it. A fantastic Oldsmobile here. Total 50s gold, an amazing machine. There are some more photos of that Alpha and some images of other cars that were on display as well. In any case, once we were finished walking around Bonhams here, as we were leaving, they were getting ready to fire up the Simplex that was up for auction. Let's listen to this thing come to life here. All right, is it going to start? Is it going to start?
Yeah, you can see. So I think
this car ended up being the top seller of all the auction cars in Scottsdale this week, and I'll tell you more about it in a little bit. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
So good. Absolutely spectacular car with an amazing history. History on wheels indeed. So after the Simplex, we went over to the Arizona Biltmore to check out the cars that were up for auction at the RM Sotheby sale. Another Allard there in the lineup. This was a wild V8 powered, I don't know what it was, Chrysler letter car, Maserati. This, I believe, was an Apollo. BMW, another Chrysler Ghia show car, which was interesting to see. Two of those up for auction in Scottsdale this week. Let's see, Mercedes 190 SL, NASCAR. If you want to live out your NASCAR dreams, you could hop in this fiberglass bodied machine and rock and roll. This is a BMW, or not a BMW, this is a Bugatti supercar, very rare EB110. You don't see these cars very often come up for sale, and really interesting to see this thing and walk around it up close. Now, again, this is at the RM Sotheby sale, which is another one of the boutique sales. Pretty much everything here is high-end, and as you can see by the machines lined up here, this is automotive royalty up for grabs. Big money, big pockets, everything making it happen. And just the opportunity to see this stuff and walk around and check out these cars up close is a treat, and it's immensely fun to watch these guys battle for these machines, break out their wallets, and spend big to bring some of these crazy cars home. Porsche 959, obviously, another great car to see go through one of these auctions. These were an extremely low production and highly prized Porsche 911 variant. This one in solid white with the black interior was stellar. What a cool car. Absolute Porsche dream car for anybody that's into the scene. Love it, love it, love it. All right, big 59 Cadillac convertible. Gotta love that. Aston Martin. This is a Lamborghini Miura. Those have gone incredibly high in price recently, and it's a fantastic vintage supercar. This 911 Targa belongs to my same friend that ran through the AMX in the previous auction, and this car will go up for sale as well here at RM Sotheby's. In any case, really fun to walk around, random images of the different machines and the sights and sounds that caught my eye. People watching is also fantastic at this show. It's fun to see the fashion and the pomp and circumstance of many of the buyers and their assorted mates going through this place. Duesenberg going through the sale as well. Beautiful J. Duesenberg. Loved this custom Buick, 59 Buick, just phenomenal shape.
175, $180,000. Sold 175 RJ.
There you go. $175,000 for a T-Bird? Come on now. Yet $80,000 for this Talbot Lago? Doesn't make sense. In any case, it was fun to watch the money play and the cars come up for grabs. Some of it was really insane.
$2,800,000. Are we all done, Greg? At $2,800,000. The bid is on the phone desk with Gord. At $2,750,000. $2,800,000 now. $2,750,000. $2,800,000. $2,800,000. Here it goes. We're going to count it down, ladies and gentlemen. 2829. 2829. At $2,900,000.
So these guys were sitting right in front of us. Obviously, this guy here is a Corvette restorer. That is one of the rarest Corvettes of its era. It is going strong, $2.8 million. Where will this car end?
$3 million. Making a nice round $3 million. $3 million. At $2,850,000. $3 million. $3 million at $2,850,000. $3 million. We're going to count it down for the first time at $3 million. He's sitting down at $2,850,000. So you want to reconsider at $2,900,000. $2,900,000. He's off the phone at $2,900,000. Sold. $2,850,000. 1320. Going twice. Sir, do you want to reconsider at $95,000? Third and final opportunity at $95,000. $92,500. Now $95,000. And now $95,000. We're at $92,500. Asking $95,000. $95,000. And $92,500. $95,000. Last chance at $95,000. $95,000. $97,500. $97,500 now. $97,500. It's your turn, sir. $97,500. At $95,000. $97,500. Anyone else at $95,000? $97,500. Anybody else at $97,500? $95,000.
Well, unfortunately, that one fell a little short of the estimate, 120 to 140. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's the way these auctions are. There is no guarantee that you're going to get top money out of your car. And a lot of these lower level cars in the big auctions here are going no reserve. So the high bid takes it, regardless of what you want out of it. Vehicles like this Volkswagen bus here, $40,000. That's pretty solid money. In any case, it was fun to watch these vehicles go through, see the auction, and really enjoy all of it. We slipped back over to Bonhams to watch the auction start there. They started with the pedal cars going through. It was fun to see the little kids that they had in the pedal cars and the scooters and stuff go through. This particular Vespa sold for $37,000, and it turns out it was actually an Indonesian import and certainly not a bike that was worth that kind of money. All of these auctions are fun to attend. Some of them you have to pay for, certainly, but it is well worth the price of admission to see these bits of automotive history roll across the block. Some of the most amazing cars you'll ever see come up for auction through these different sales. Probably the most exciting item or auction of the whole week was the sale of the Simplex. Now, this is an absolutely incredible bit of automotive history.
The Eleanor Sears Simplex, and she owned this car from 1912 to 1939. It was given to her by Harold Vanderbilt as an engagement gift, and it was a beloved car for her. She was and is considered the greatest American sportswoman of the pre-World War II era. This is absolutely the kind of car that you would imagine someone like that driving. In the 1950s, this car was owned by Charles Chain, the head of engineering at General Motors, and he had engineers at GM do the restoration on this car, and they balanced this engine and reworked the steering and the brakes. The fact that this car is from 1912 and you drive it, it absolutely blows you away. Simplexes are great cars, but this car is so different from your average Simplex in the way it drives. It's one of the other components of this car that's made this car such a great and famous car for me.
So the folks we were sitting with are going to make a heavy play for this car. I wonder if they'll end up bringing it home. Here we go.
Still this week, ladies and gentlemen, $3,750,000 is now bid. $4 million is bid.
The bidding was fierce on this car. Absolutely amazing.
For the chain drive Simplex. 4.1 million.
Still thinking, or?
Looking good. 4,000,004. Is it a yes or is it a no?
Our bidders have made their play.
Any more? 4,000,004 for the first time then.
Any takers?
For the second time at 4,400,000.
This is a new world record for a pre-war car like this, brass era car.
You're not going to leap back in at the last minute again. 4,004, ladies and gentlemen, the car is sold.
Fantastic. A new addition to the Singleton collection of Southern California. And this is Matthew Goyce, their collection manager, proudly trying on the car for size. Such a treat to be there with these folks and watch them acquire this amazing car for their budding collection. Absolutely love this BMW. That has got to be one of the most incredibly beautiful cars that has ever come off the BMW assembly line, at least for me. Just love the look of it. That low body, those big wheels, all the little details. I'm not a massive BMW guy, but this car could definitely turn me over onto that. Some of the higher end cars like this, they do a nice video presentation of it, try to stir up some interest in the room, and that's always kind of fun to see. Not everything gets that attention, so when one of those rolls up, you know you've got something special.
What a stunning 1958 BMW 507 Series 2 Roadster.
Do you want to come back, sir? You sure? 1,875,000 for the first time. For the second time, against your phone. Mark, you didn't do anything. Are you sure? $1,875,000. Your car, sir, well done. Good
Well done, well done. Certainly far beyond my dream budget for such a car. But still, what a great opportunity to watch something like this roll across the block and change hands. Lots of other neat cars rolling through. There's that Maserati. Definitely made its entrance.
$3,375,000. The bid is against you. $3,375,000. $3,400,000. At $3,400,000 now. The bid is at $3,400,000. $3,415,000.
Climbing.
What would you like to do?
Climbing. Will it sell?
$3,415,000 is the bid with Mark at $3,415,000.
Now there are phone bidders. You can see whenever one of these agents is standing up there, they've got a bidder on the phone.
$3,425,000, Sholto. We're inching along, but it's okay. $3,425,000.
So not all the bidders are in the room.
$300,425,000. It's Mark's bid, Sholto. Against you at $3,425,000. $3,425,000. Sholto, would you like to bid? 3,440,000. Sholto's bid.
Okay, creeping upwards, creeping upwards.
3,450,000. The big boy increments are amazing, but we'll get there. 3,450,000. Sholto, against you now. What shall we do?
Now these auctions sometimes take a little longer than when you are rolling through Barrett Jackson. They give the attention to the cars that need the most attention or are willing to wait for a bid to come in and work it best for the client, for the seller.
Selling at 3,450,000. Shall we go up? 3,450,000. 3,450,000 is the bid against you at 3,450,000. Shall we go one more time? 300,450,000. Right? MC12. Butcher. 12. Beautiful car. Sholto. The gavel is up at 3,450,000. Shall we give it one more time? One more go. 3,450,000 then. Going once. At 3.5. Well, 3,450,000. Let's not round it up. Going twice at 3,400,000. I know. You're wrong, right? At 3,450,000. Sholto lost chance. And the gavel is up. And I'm selling at 3 million.
Come on, come on.
At 60 now.
Uh,
I know, it's a big increment, but still, it's a bit of that congestion.
Sometimes it drags on a little long, I must admit. But they're doing the best they can to get the most money out of these spectacular automobiles.
3,460,000. I'm going to have to work really hard for that. Let's go 70.
And it is quite nice to not have it be so loud and so obnoxious in the room that you can't carry on a conversation, or that the bidding goes so fast you don't really know what sold and for how much.
Recently been taken care of, and it's been very fine cosmetic condition. You hear how nicely it ran when it came across the ramp. It's one of the most successful GT racers of recent time.
3,460,000, and the bid is to show for, ladies and gentlemen, going once at 3,460,000. Twice at 3,460,000 and selling all the way 3,460,000. Well done.
There we go. $3,460,000 for this incredible Maserati MC12 supercar at its finest. Back out on the lawn, some of the Porsches in the mix there. That's a 63 356, similar to the one that I own. Love to see this little Isetta get big money, $75,000. This is that Continental Porsche 1955, beautiful car. In any case, we had a great time there. That night we went out for dinner. We rolled back into Barrett Jackson the next morning to see the other cars that were rolling through. Here's a Targa that sold for $102,000. Let's see, Mercedes there. Lots of used luxury cars and exotics get roll through there, as well as some of the crazy customs and things like that. Let's see, where are we here? We're walking through the Midway there. This is a display by Air-Cooled in Arizona. They do all sorts of modified Volkswagen stuff. Really fun to see them have a presence there, as well as folks like Kindig that had some amazing cars that were on display. Wacky stuff again. Here's a jet-powered van that was up for auction right next to a dragster. If you needed a jet-powered van, Barrett Jackson is the place to go. Here's a microbus, a couple of those, some of them recreated or reworked Brazilian models that tend to sell quite short of what the German ones do. This particular German modeled bus actually sold fairly cheap for what it was. This was a beautiful 58-23 window. It was a genuine German bus. It was converted to a double door, which is something that's fairly uncommon. This car here I thought was an amazing bargain. $38,000 for this Model T custom. That was a 50s custom that was just gorgeous, beautifully restored. $68,000 for a Brazilian bus? No, thank you. $137,000 for a Packard 12? Well, all right, maybe. In any case, lots of fun stuff to see. Bright colors seem to sell quite well. Lots of cool rides. Loved this Cadillac Eldorado. I'm so taken by those cars of that era. Really cool stuff. And some bargains on some Mercedes. This is a 230 SL that sold for $53,000, and there were other ones that sold for far less. Now, this was a neat car. It was a Mercedes 540K. I thought this car sold quite short at just under $500,000. This was a real 540K Mercedes. It did have a rebody at one point into the Cabriolet B model, and I do think that that kept its price down a little bit. But for a full classic, supercharged 540K, this particular car sold for over $1 million last time it was up for auction. So there you go, my Scottsdale experience for 2023. I hope you enjoyed it.